Allegro.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go ahead. Yeah. Okay, so namaste everyone. Now, who wants to give a review of what we did in the morning? Just kidding. That was just to wake you guys up out of the post-lunch slumber that we usually get into. So briefly, I'll review Charit Manas. What is the purpose of reading or studying Charit Manas based on that ladder of ascension? Who can tell me? Should I pick somebody? Yogi. Why should we? Because he knows, right? I can pick on him and make him feel bad. I can get away with that. But I don't know about you guys. So why should we ascend? What is the purpose of ascending this ladder?
The purpose of ascending the ladder is to find peace in your life.
Exactly. So peace, the finding or the discovery of the peace within is the goal of studying itihas. Why? Because we're seeing someone who actually lived amongst people that has found it. And this whole Ramayana is based on that individual called Ram. Now to get to that level of Sri Ram, what has to be cultivated first? Tell me. The mind. It has to be cultivated in a certain way, isn't that true? And what sort of mind reaches optimal performance when it comes to speech? What else?
Action.
Man, kram, vachan. So we have speech, actions and man, kram, speech, actions and what does vach mean? Vach, words. So what kind of mind provides ultimate output when it comes to speech, actions and words? A noble mind. And what does it mean to be noble? A mind that is first at ease, right? So we saw that much. And we also saw that that same Sri Ram was the way he was. He encompassed everyone. He included everyone. He was the ideal man. Why? Because he was in touch with what? As you can see here, I drew BMI, PFT and OET. Was he in touch with the BMI? It doesn't stand for body mass index, okay? Was he in touch with the BMI, the body, mind, and intellect? Did he think of himself only to be that? No. What did he know himself to be? Existence and consciousness. So why do we do puja? You see that beautiful altar that's set up there, that puja sthan that we have there? Why do we have various murtis of the Lord? Because we're practicing the various ideals of what those idols represent. In the West, they're known as idols. We call them murtis. But why do we pray? Why do we connect? Like on the phone. Why do we click the app? So we can connect to those murtis. And we gave the example of who? Tell me. Bhagavan Shankar, Lord Shiva. When one connects to that Lord Shiva, who is Bhagavan Shankar, and what is the etymology of the word Shankar? Who can tell me? The etymology, Sanskrit etymology that I taught you this morning. Shamkaroti iti Shankar. The one who grants us what? Peace. So when we attract ourselves to Lord Shiva, when we look at the murti of Bhagavan Shankar, what automatically comes into our minds? Peace, isn't that true? What if you wanted education? Which manifestation of existence do you go to? Saraswati. So we pray for different things. So different manifestations of God. Okay? And we know that Hinduism, Bhagavan Eki Hai, the Lord is one but takes many forms, right? All of those 33 crore forms, or whatever number it is irrelevant to me. Why? Because all of those devas and devatas and devis, what do? They actually allow us to be comfortable in our psychology. Bhagavan Shankar provides peace. Durga Ma, why does she have 8 hands with 8 weapons? Are these physical weapons that she hurls only at demons? No. These are symbolic of the protection that same peace gives from 6 enemies. If you want to write this down, it's fine. And these are the 6 enemies that destroy us on a daily basis. It's not your boss, mother-in-law, father-in-law. These 6 enemies are internal. In Hindi, I'll say them first. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mad, Matsarya. English? Selfish desires or lust, anger, greed, attachment, false pride, and jealousy. If there's any definition of something that agitates us the most, it's these 6 things. Think about the last person who agitated you. Okay? Yogi plays such good tabla. I wish I can play tabla like him. What automatically happens in my heart because I see him playing that? Tell me? Jealousy. Okay? Now, I would go as far as to say jealousy is not a bad thing. It's actually a form of admiration. So the next time you're jealous of someone, I'm using myself as an example. The next time I'm jealous of someone, it's just my way of admiring them in a not so sattvic or pure way. But here's the thing. I should aspire to be as good as the next person. This is real admiration. So you see how we can turn these 6 enemies into something positive? You're coming here today. Was it a selfish desire? Was it selfish? Or was it selfless? Because whatever you learn here, the ways of transformation, you're going to take it into the world and make this world a better place with it. Creating ease not only for yourself in your mind, which is called Chitta Shuddhi. Write this word down for me, please. Chitta Shuddhi. CHITTA-SHUDDHI. Chitta Shuddhi. Chitta means the mind. Shuddhi means what? Purity. So what is a pure mind? A mind that is peaceful and a mind that is noble. So the tools that you're going to learn today are basically aimed at creating that. And not only that, why do we do chanting? To gain peace of mind, isn't that true? Again, how did you feel? Mahika, how did you feel when you were chanting just now? Good. You felt peaceful, isn't that true? And were you thinking about anything else when you were chanting? A person who dances Bharatnatyam, right? Or any dancer. Is that dancer thinking of anything else when that person's on stage dancing? No. This is what you call Chitta Ekagrataha. Write that down. Chitta, again mind. Ekagrataha means single pointed focus. And another word for that is Samadhanam. Okay? So this is focus. So the Murtis, Sri Ram being the ideal person in the Sagun or the form with qualities, we aim to be like him. A focused individual on the pursuit of Parama Atma or the higher self. Whereas a normal individual, where is his pursuit? On the lower self. Satisfying the body, mind and intellect in the world of objects, emotions and thoughts. So a person who's constantly focused on the lower self, which is the PFT. You see this word PFT there? It means perceiver, feeler, thinker. If we constantly think ourselves just to be that, we're going to end up trapped in these objects when we perceive them. Our mind will feel all sorts of emotions and the intellect will think all sorts of wayward thoughts, propelling us into a world that is elusive. Now, why is the world considered to be elusive? Tell me. Because it is simply temporary. So anything that is temporary, can it be the truth? No. Because the truth is true when? Past, present, and future. Something that is not temporary or an illusion or false, it is seemingly true. But then what happens after a couple of weeks? Someone debunks that theory. And again, we have to prove another thing. So what is the only thing that we know to be true in the span of everything that we know? Because even nowadays, science is being what? Debunked, isn't that true? Every single theory that we know to be true, 2 years later, it's debunked. And all scientists know that. But what is that one thing that we are sure of? That one thing that we have faith in, and Uncle and I were having a discussion. Faith is so important in everything that we do. There's a difference between faith and belief. Say those 2 words for me. Faith and belief. In Hindi, Shraddha or Sanskrit, and Vishwas. What is the difference? In belief, there's a tinge of doubt there. For example, you see this wall behind me? I believe that this wall is made of sheetrock. I'm not sure. I believe. But what's the difference now? I know or I trust or I have faith that that is made of sheetrock. Do you see the difference? Knowing without a tinge of doubt, that is what? Shraddha. So once we know by the scriptures, or various shastras tell us about the benefits of puja. Various shastras have told us about men like Sri Ram who have reached the pinnacle, reached the goal of human life. Having faith that you can too and help the entire world in the process. This is ultimate Shraddha. Okay? So when you have faith, you automatically have bhakti, which is love not only for yourself, but love for that God. No matter if you call him Jesus, Allah, Krishna, Rama, understand him to be, or her to be, existence that has taken a form in your life that you can connect to, that brings your mind at peace, whether you chant its name or whatever. Okay? Gyan. What is Gyan? Knowledge. Knowledge of what? Knowledge of your true nature. And to climb this ladder finally, before we get into the text, Vairagya is needed. Vairag matlab kya hai? Virag, which means person without likes and dislikes. Rag and dvesh. When you talk about rag, you talk about your likes, right? He likes the color blue. I don't like blue. Why? Because he's pre-programmed to like that color. When you can exist in this world, not being affected by the things and people outside, by likes and dislikes, and not getting agitated by them, not letting them strip away your peace because it's not working out, that is a Vairagi. A person who gives up the ego. See, in Vedanta, renunciation, right, doesn't mean you wear orange clothes and walk around. Anybody can do that. Renunciation means you renounce the idea that you're simply a perceiver, feeler, and thinker, but you know yourself to be something higher. And when we can get to that level, that is the ultimate goal of human beings. Okay, because only the human being can do that. Okay, so that was a review from this morning. Okay, so now we're going to go into our text, and we are looking at the story of Shabari. Okay, Shabari and Sri Ram. Who is Shabari? Does anybody know? She was an old, unschooled lady that the Lord visited during his time where? In the forest. In the forest, he met so many different people. For those of you who don't know, Sri Ram was exiled. He was a prince of where? Ayodhya. His father, one fine day, under the influence of one of his stepmothers, made the decision to do what? Exile his son for 14 years along with Lakshmana, his brother, and his wife Sita. During his time in the forest, he met so many different people. And one such person was Shabari. And what was the story there, and what were the events that took place at that time? Tulsidas pens in these wonderful words. So in this Chaupai, and we learned that the Ramayana, in Tulsi Ramayana in particular, is chanted. That is the enchanting part of Ramayana, okay? Because it is chanted. What does Shabari describe as that Lord was coming? Sarasija Lochan. How were his eyes? His eyes were very big and beautiful. Bahu Visala. And his arms were very long. Now you see, as I describe this, I want you to picture that being in front of you. A picture that is the embodiment of love. A picture that is the embodiment of perfection. What automatically comes to the mind when you can picture such an individual? Tell me. Peace and tranquility. That is the goal of our lives. So picture that. Sarashija lochana bahu visala, beautiful eyes, long arms. Jata mukutta, and his hair was in the form of a crown, his jata. It was like this, matted, and it looked like a crown. And what was on his chest? Ura vanamala. On his chest there was vanamala, forest flowers. Syama gora sundara do bhai. One of them was Syam, was very dark, and the other one was very fair. Rama is the color of the dark cloud, right? Syam is very dark, and his brother Lakshman, on the other hand, very fair. They were two brothers. Shabari pari charana lapatai. And as soon as Shabari saw them, guess what she did? She fell to their feet. Now here's the thing. Shabari was an old, unschooled lady. We won't go into her history because time will not permit. But Hanumanji, subsequent to this, meets Sri Ram. Okay? Did he recognize the Lord? No. Why? Because he went to the Lord in disguise. When we go to God in disguise, when we let these conditionings of the body, mind and intellect overtake us, and all the confusions that go on as a result of association with them, tadatmya it is called, what happens? Our agitations take us over, and we don't see the beauty of every single thing in the world, which is Sri Ram. Hasn't that ever happened to you? We get so wrapped up in what the face value of everything that we forget the underlying injuncts of what that thing is. More about that we'll see a bit later on. But take a look at this, okay? Syama gora sundar do bhai savari pari charan lapatai. She knew immediately that this was the storehouse of all love, the storehouse of all compassion. She fell to his feet. Prema magana mukha vachana na ava. There were no words to come out of that Shabari, that mother. Imagine if you met someone that you haven't seen in a long time, that you loved very much, okay? And that person walked right through that door, came in front of you. Any words can come out of your mouth at that time? No. And see, this is the love. Prem, this is what we call bhakti, okay? Prema magana mukha bachana na ava puni puni pada saroja siranava. And it says here that Shabari washed the feet of Sri Ram. Sadara jalale charana pakhare. She brought water again and again. But if you look at this very carefully, okay? Shabari was kneeled down in front of Sri Ram. Why do we bow to great people again? Tell me, from this morning. Because they are the support of our life. Our gurus who teach us, right? Sri Ram was no different. He is the Lord himself. So, if she was kneeled down, okay, washing the feet of Sri Ram, Tulsidashti says that she brought water again and again. What does that imply?
She's crying.
Did she go to an actual well if she was kneeled down? She doesn't have superpowers. How can you be kneeled down and go to a well that's far away? She cried and washed the feet of her Lord. That is how you've made a connection. If you at all want to feel the peace and the power that comes from devotion, three things must happen. You choke with emotion, that means you cannot speak. Number two, what is called pulakita, or goose pimples, your hair stands on edge. Hasn't that ever happened to you? When you make a connection, when you chant the Lord's name, when you say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, and you say it so musically and divine, like this. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, oh Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. As soon as that chant begins, people start crying. That is the way to devotion. Why? Because you're employing your emotions in a very sattvic place. You're not crying because a person left you. You're not crying because this thing didn't work out. You're crying because you're feeling tremendous love within your heart. The closest thing that comes to this is a mother's love for her child. No matter how old you may think you are, the day you go home and eat mother's food, she stands in front of you and she admires even that. That is the love of a mother to a child. And when you do puja, let's say you're doing adorations to your murtis, right? And you're having a personal relationship with God, correct? In Hinduism, you can have relationships how? As a father, as a mother, as a friend, as a brother, as a baby. You know which form I like to pray to? Guess. I like to pray to Bala Krishna. Bala Krishna is the baby form of Shri Krishna, isn't that true? Does anyone ask of anything from a baby? No. So that itself stems my mind from going into any wayward, false, erroneous notions that I should go to my God as a form of beggary. You know, in America and in India, right? Poor people are outside begging and the rich people are inside begging. You see how it works? We say, oh Lord, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. But don't you think the Lord knows exactly what's in your mind? What did we describe God to be earlier? Existence and consciousness. The mere fact that consciousness allows the body, mind, and intellect, and you see the Om on top there? Consciousness is denoted by that. Okay? Om, Pranav, whatever you call it, that is consciousness. When you have a body, mind, and intellect that is powered by consciousness, only then is it alive. What's the definition of someone who's dead? Is God in a dead body? Any scientists out there? Is God in a dead body? Of course. Existence, the dead body is existing. Isn't that true? The corpse that you're seeing in the casket is existing. And whether we like it or not, we're all going to be in that casket. Sorry to bust your bubble, everyone. We're all going to be there. Isn't that true? Just like we were born, we have to die. So what is the definition of death according to Vedanta? Death happens when the soul or the mind and intellect plus the 5 jnanindriyas, 5 karma indriyas and 5 what? Vital airs, pranas, with the mind and intellect. When those 17 components leave the body, that body is clinically dead. Consciousness may be there, but it cannot express itself. Do you guys get that point? So when Shabari meets Sri Ram, she washes the feet of that Lord. What is she cultivating now in her life? She's cultivating what? Peace and love for something higher. What is the definition of spirituality? Tell me. Do you have to be a Hindu to be spiritual? Do you have to be only Muslim to be a spiritual? Do you have to be Christian? Spirituality, the definition of spirituality is this: reaching for something that is higher than me. And when I say me, who am I talking about? The big I or the small I? Small I means the small individual, which is the perceiver, feeler, thinker, body, mind, and intellect. Okay, that is the ego part of us. That part that gets hurt. That part that gets thrown around and slapped around by life and crawls into the corner and hides. That part, if you're totally focused on that, we'll never advance spiritually. But to a person who says, this world is full of joys and sorrows. This world is full of dvandva. Say that word for me. Dvandva means the pairs of opposites. Sukha, dukkha, cold and hot, every single pair of opposite that you know, this world will give it to you on a silver platter, whether you like it or not. So the balanced individual, the person who has samatva buddhi, or the person who is calm and collected, even when it's good and even when it's bad, is never taken on a ride by his emotions. And how do you know if you're very spiritual? Haven't you ever wondered what are the benchmarks of spirituality? The other day, a child in the Mandir, Bhuvaneshwar Mandir, came up to me and he said, Acharya ji, I've been coming to Mandir for all 7 years of my life. All 7 years, I was born here. How do I know that I'm becoming spiritual? I said, are you bothered by the world outside? Are you bothered when your mom cooks toast and it's burnt? Or if she makes karaila? Okay? And he said, no, not at all. I enjoy it. I relish everything. And even when it's not good, I'm balanced there also. I try my best the next day to make it good. You know what I said to him? Congratulations, you are balanced. And you are in tune with something higher. So Shabri was there. Why? Because she felt these positive emotions. She directed her emotions to a level that was higher. And whenever you do that, you gain strength. Okay? What does she tell the Lord, however? That is very tragic that we do on a constant basis to ourselves and others. Tulsidas ji writes in this chopai. Shabri admits something very disturbing to Sri Ram. Adhamate adhama adhama atinari. I am the lowest of women. Why? Because I was born in the lowest of homes. Okay? And we know the caste system, right? What is the top of the caste system? Brahmin. Then we have, what is it? Kshatriya, then Vaishya, then Shudra. Adhama means the low of the low. So what is she admitting right off the bat to her Lord? Now, remind yourself. She's having a personal relationship with God. Just like I have my personal relationship with my mother and father. Her relation is the Lord Himself. How lucky. Adhama means the lowest. She's confessing. Adhamate adhama adhama atinari. I am the lowest of women, O Lord. Tinha mahime mati manda aghari. And my mind is very dull. Kaha raghupati sunu bhamini bhata. How does Sri Ram respond to her? He says, Kaha raghupati means Lord said, Sunu bhamini bhata. Listen, O Bhamini. Say the word Bhamini for me. Bhamini means the most beautiful lady. Not Miss Universe, okay? That's not Bhamini. Bhamini, do you think Sri Ram is talking about a physical being? No. It is impossible. Why? Who is Shabri? An old, wrinkled, 95 plus year old woman. So could Sri Ram be referring to the outside? No. He was referring to her, tell me, soul. Her mind and intellect. Now here's the thing. If Sri Ram called her Bhamini, what does that mean in the eyes of Sri Ram? That Sri Ram didn't care where she came from. Her mind and intellect and the correct usage of that automatically made her what? Beautiful. And what is the word beautiful synonymous with? The top, isn't that true? This is a beautiful harmonium. This is the best harmonium. You have a beautiful mind. What does that mean? that your mind is very, very noble and pure. So here's the thing in this part of Ramayana, a controversial subject comes up. Caste system. Do you think, according to this, that someone can be born a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra? Do you think it's fair? According to this, and we're going to go into other sources in a minute. And I think I'll end with this. I won't even get into Navada Bhakti. Sorry. No time. But here's the thing. Do you think, my dear brothers and sisters, that Sri Ram would have called her the most beautiful if she was indeed a Shudra? What makes a person a Brahmin? What makes a person a Kshatriya? What makes a person a Vaishya? And what makes a person a Shudra? Their mindset. It doesn't matter where you're born. You know why? Because nowadays there are people who are born in Brahmin homes but are drunkards and they hurt people. Are those Shudras or Brahmins? Shudras, the lowest in the mind. And in the Bhagavad Gita, my dear brothers and sisters, as we cross-reference, and we can't help but do that, we see exactly proof, black and white, chapter 18, verse 42, as to who is qualified to call himself a Brahmin. And if you have these traits and these traits only, you are considered to be that. What is it? Shamo damastapa shaucham shantirajhavam evacha jnanam vijnanam astikyam brahma karma swabhavajam. Black and white in plain Sanskrit language. Transliterated, of course. But here's the thing. When you understand the Sanskrit, you know exactly what he's talking about. Say the word Shama for me. Shama. Shama is the first quality that anyone who is considered to be a Brahmin must have. And you must have it. There's no getting around it. And there are 9 things listed here. The first one is Shama. Say that. Shama. Shama means control of the mind. Write this word down for me. Integrated personality. Pass me your phone. Oh, anybody have a phone I can borrow just to keep time? Because my phone is...
Yeah, you still have a good
half an hour. Perfect. Okay.
I hope that you can get it.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll try. Okay, so what was that word I gave you? Shama. 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 Yeah? Shama means what? To have control of the mind. And you wrote what word down just now? Integrated personality. Isn't that true? You see on this chart here? BMI. Correct? And every alive person has what? A fully developed mind. A fully developed body, mind and intellect. Okay? What makes an individual alive? Tell me. Who can make an educated guess based on what we talked about earlier? What makes an individual alive? And what makes an individual dead? Tell me. Come on. Do I have to call on Yogi? You want me to call? 17 components which are part of the mind. Correct? So the mind and intellect present in a human body with consciousness propelling it is an alive person. Correct? Consciousness in a body without the mind and intellect is considered to be who? A dead person. Okay? A person in a casket will never give a talk. No matter how great that person was before. Why? Because he's missing a mind and an intellect. Mainly. Okay? What sort of mind sees higher things in life and experiences peace in his life? A mind that is what? Noble and controlled. Isn't that true? A person who has controlled his mind, guess what he does? He is careful of what he sees. He is careful of what he listens to. He is careful of what he eats. Isn't that true? If we ate everything under the sun, how would we be? We would be diseased. Diseased. Where does ease start and where does ease end? Right in your mind. So a person who constantly listens to gossip. You know, some people cook at home, okay? Housewife, sorry. Okay? Some people cook at home and they'll be cooking a pot of dal. Phone rings. Person starts speaking about another person. Most of the time it's in the negative. And what happens to the poor pot of dal? It flows over and burns away and the whole house catches fire. Why? Because of gossip. So we must be careful of what? What we're hearing, what we're seeing, and what we're tasting, and everything else that the senses can perceive. That is called control of the senses. Now, say this word for me, damaha. Damaha means control of the body, right? Controlling those actions that you partake in. Another thing that Uncle and I were talking about, what constitutes a sin? Is sin simply not doing a certain thing a certain way and I'm going to be sin for that? No. As I said before, God is not someone in the sky who takes score of you. Sin basically comes when we feel a sense of agitation, a negative feeling after doing an act. That is considered to be sin. You see that? So in dharma, there's no black and white thing as to dharma and adharma. But we know, my dear brothers and sisters, that the acts that we do, if they are aimed at himsa or hurting another person or being, that is considered a sin. Another definition of sin is this: any act that stops you from doing what? Evolving in life. Drugs, alcohol, and so on. What do they do to the mind? They destroy your mind, isn't that true? And how does a person operate when he's distraught in the mind because he's destroyed his mind via all of these things that he's seeking happiness in? What happens? Huh? Tell me. What happens to that mind or that person? He is very disheveled, isn't that true? Would such a person ever enjoy peace? No. So the first two things, controlling the mind, controlling the body, damaha. Now say this word for me. Tapaha. Tapaha means what? Sacrifice. Only and until you're willing to sacrifice in life can things happen that are good for you. For example, I'll give my own self, forgive me for doing this again, but I could have very well stayed in Manhattan at my job doing accounting, counting the score for Ernst & Young, okay, and not doing anything else with my life. I'm not saying that's bad, but once you know that what you're doing is